Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you care deeply about someone, make the effort, and even check in first, but the more you try, the more distant they seem? Hours turn into days, and you start wondering, did I do something wrong? Why do they ignore me when I'm giving them my best? Here's a difficult truth. The person who loves you the most may often be the one who distances themselves, not because they don't care, but because of human nature. In today's discussion, we're going to explore the psychology and wisdom behind this paradox. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of why this happens and how you can shift the dynamics in your favor. If you're ready to embrace your own silent confidence, hit like, subscribe, and comment. Claim my space below to join this journey together. Let's get started. 1. The paradox of familiarity, how distance creates desire. Imagine you've just gotten your dream car. In the beginning, you're obsessed with it, washing it daily, taking it for drives, and admiring every detail. But over time, it becomes just another item in your life. The shine fades, and you no longer notice the sleek design or leather seats. This is what happens in relationships, too. When someone is always there, their presence becomes predictable, and we start to take them for granted. Familiarity can sometimes breed indifference. The things we value the most can slip out of focus if we forget to appreciate them. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, life is fleeting, and we must remain mindful of the impermanence of everything around us, including the people we love. By understanding this, we can appreciate those around us more deeply. 2. Love doesn't always speak loudly. Love isn't always loud or overt. Often it's expressed in the quiet moments. Perhaps you grew up in a home where love wasn't spoken aloud but shown through actions. Your parents may have never said, "I love you," but they cared for you, provided for you, and supported you silently. People express love in different ways, often shaped by how they were taught. Some show affection through words, while others express it through thoughtful actions. So, silence or distance doesn't always equate to a lack of love. As Seneca wisely said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Rather than assuming someone doesn't care, consider their background and the way they express love. It might be different from your own, and that's perfectly okay. After all, love comes in many forms. 3. Ignoring is a test, not rejection. Sometimes the person who loves you the most may distance themselves as a way to test your emotional stability. They might want to observe how you react to their silence. Do you panic? Do you beg for attention? Or do you remain composed, unaffected? Ignoring someone can sometimes be an unconscious way for people to gauge how deeply you value them. It's a test to see if your self-worth is based on your own foundation, rather than relying on their attention. As Marcus Aurelius said, dwell on the beauty of life instead of wondering why someone ignores you. Focus on building your life to a point where you're fulfilled enough not to be disturbed by their silence. When you remain calm and unshaken, you demonstrate that your worth doesn't depend on external validation. 4. Love doesn't need constant reassurance. Have you ever been in a relationship where you constantly need to reassure the other person about your feelings? You might find yourself saying, "I love you," repeatedly, or proving it through actions. But have you ever wondered why this dynamic exists? It may stem from the fear of insecurity. Those who seek constant reassurance often fear losing their connection, but true love doesn't need constant validation. When you trust the relationship, there's no need for continual confirmation. As Seneca teaches, strength comes from within. If someone truly loves you, their actions will speak louder than words, and the relationship should be rooted in trust, not in ongoing validation. The fear of vulnerability can cause distance. Have you ever noticed that the people who care about you the most sometimes pull away when you need them the most? This can often happen because vulnerability is intimidating. To open up to someone is to give them the power to hurt you, and not everyone is prepared to take that risk. Sometimes, those who love you the most may retreat because they don't know how to handle their own emotional vulnerability. They may fear causing you pain, or even exposing their own vulnerabilities. The Stoics believe that emotional resilience is a fundamental part of personal growth. Vulnerability should not be feared, nor should it create distance between people. It's important to recognize that being open and vulnerable is a strength, not a weakness. If someone pulls away, it's often driven by their own fears, not a lack of love. 6. Emotional walls are built by fear. Sometimes, the person who cares about you the most may seem distant. This behavior isn't meant to push you away, but is often a way to protect their own vulnerabilities. Emotional walls are usually built out of a fear of rejection or the pain of being hurt again. These walls can arise in even the most loving relationships as a form of self-protection, not a reflection of how they feel about you. Seneca advises us to approach others with patience, understanding that everyone carries their own fears and insecurities. Instead of taking their distance personally, see it for what it is, a defense mechanism, not a sign of rejection. Approach them with empathy and compassion, and you may help them dismantle their emotional walls. 7. Self-reflection is the key to understanding distance. When someone pulls away, it's easy to assume that it's about you. Maybe you did something wrong, or perhaps they're not as interested anymore. But have you ever considered it from their perspective? Sometimes, the person distancing themselves is simply going through personal challenges. It's not a reflection of your worth, but rather their need for self-reflection. Perhaps they need time to better understand themselves before they can offer you the best version of who they are. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a moment to reflect on the situation with clarity and objectivity. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the space they need to work through their own challenges. 8. Some love is self-serving, and that's okay. Not every expression of love is purely selfless. Some people may love you not for who you are, but for what you can do for them. They might show affection only when they need something, which is a form of love that depends on their needs being met. While this can be painful, it's a reality we must accept. Seneca reminds us that not all love is unconditional, and that's okay. Recognize self-serving love for what it is, and don't invest too much of your energy into relationships where love is only given when it's convenient for the other person. 9. The more you chase, the more they pull away. Have you ever tried to chase someone for their attention, only to find that they pull away even more? This is a common dynamic in relationships, where the harder you pursue someone for affection or validation, the further they seem to retreat. Think of it like a butterfly. If you chase it, it flies away. But if you sit still, it may land on your shoulder. The law of reverse effort tells us that when we stop chasing, we become more valuable in others' eyes. Instead of constantly seeking love or validation, focus on yourself. Stoicism teaches that self-control is the true source of power. When you stop chasing approval, you naturally command respect and admiration. Those who are meant to be in your life will come to you. 10. The most powerful love is the love you give yourself. In the end, the most important love you can receive is the love you give to yourself. The love from others is wonderful, but it will never be enough if you don't first value yourself. When you love yourself, you become immune to rejection and disappointment. You no longer chase after others' approval because your sense of worth comes from within. This is the greatest power you can possess. Stoicism teaches that true strength comes from self-love and acceptance. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When you master the art of loving yourself, you'll find peace regardless of how others treat you. Remember, love is complex, but wisdom is simple. Choose peace, choose self-respect, and above all, choose yourself. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Philosophy of Stoicism for more practical and relatable advice on navigating the complexities of love and relationships. Remember, relationships take time, care, and effort. But when fear and caution meet understanding and patience, they transform into trust and connection. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.